Have you ever felt like your daily routines and personal quirks make you a bit of an outsider? Society loves to push a very specific image of success and normalcy. We are told to keep our desks spotless, make polite small talk at parties, and stay coolly decisive under pressure. But psychology reveals a completely different story about how the human brain actually works. Some of the strangest, most unconventional habits people carry around are not flaws at all. In fact, they are strong indicators of an exceptionally high IQ. These behaviors might look peculiar or even counterproductive from the outside, but inside a highly intelligent mind, they serve a vital purpose. If you find yourself practicing these habits, your brain is likely operating on a level that most people around you rarely experience. Consider the habit of talking to yourself. If you have ever been caught muttering under your breath while working through a difficult task, you might have felt a flash of embarrassment. However, psychology refers to this behavior as verbal reasoning. Highly intelligent individuals often talk to themselves quietly, privately, and in a highly structured manner. They're not losing their grip on reality, they're organizing it. By transforming abstract, chaotic thoughts into spoken words, the brain can process information much more efficiently. It helps focus attention, reinforces memory, and speeds up problem solving. What looks like an odd eccentricity to an observer is actually a sophisticated cognitive tool that keeps a high IQ mind anchored and sharp. Another trait that is frequently misunderstood is a deep-seated tendency to overthink. In many contexts, overthinking is labeled as a sign of anxiety or insecurity. But for a highly intelligent person, this constant mental looping is driven by something entirely different: cognitive complexity. A high IQ mind naturally and automatically examines every single angle of a situation. It maps out potential consequences, weighs subtle details, and calculates future possibilities that others completely overlook. To outsiders, this exhaustive process can look like painful indecisiveness or unnecessary hesitation. In reality, it's a data-gathering mission. The brain refuses to accept surface-level answers and insists on analyzing all the moving parts before arriving at the most logical and effective outcome. You might also notice that people with elevated intelligence have a strong preference for walking alone. They aren't necessarily antisocial or avoiding human connection. Instead, they understand, either consciously or instinctively, that physical movement in solitude activates the brain's creative and problem-solving networks. Walking alone removes the social demands of conversation and the constant noise of external distractions. It creates a rare mental space where the mind is free to wander, connect seemingly unrelated ideas, and untangle complex issues. When a high IQ individual takes a long, solitary walk, they're entering a deep, meditative state of thinking that is nearly impossible to achieve in a crowded room. This unique mental wiring also shows up in how they manage their physical surroundings. High intelligence often brings a fascinating paradox: being incredibly messy in one area of life, yet intensely organized in another. Psychologists call this selective organization. A high IQ brain is fiercely protective of its energy. It allocates focus to things that truly matter, like complex projects, digital code, or creative concepts, and completely withdraws energy from things it deems low priority, like folding laundry or clearing off a desk. Therefore, an intelligent person might have a workspace that looks like a disaster zone to a casual observer, while their digital filing systems, research data, or internal concepts are flawlessly structured. It's a highly efficient way of managing limited daily bandwidth. Furthermore, highly intelligent people are prone to intense, short bursts of obsession. They might randomly dive headfirst into an obscure topic, spending days reading everything they can find about ancient architecture, deep-sea marine biology, or a specific historical event, only to completely drop it a week later once their curiosity is satisfied. This happens because the brain's curiosity system is tied directly to its dopamine reward center. For a high IQ individual, learning something brand new triggers an intense rush of satisfaction. They aren't fickle or disciplined, they're simply feeding an insatiable hunger for information. Once the core concepts are mastered, the brain naturally resets and looks for the next intellectual spark. Finally, a hallmark of an advanced mind is a genuine dislike for small talk. Engaging in surface-level conversations about the weather or weekend plans can feel physically and mentally draining for someone with a high IQ. Their brains crave depth, meaning, and the exchange of novel ideas. In large social groups, they might stay completely quiet, leading others to assume they are shy or detached. However, the moment the conversation shifts to a complex, controversial, or highly intellectual topic, they instantly light up and engage fully. If you talk to yourself, analyze every angle, walk in solitude, organize selectively, obsess over random subjects, or run away from small talk, you aren't strange. Your brain is simply wired to process the world in a deeper, more complex way.